Hi guys, it's Clarice, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on doing florals. I'm going to say the peony using a Filbert brush. And I've mentioned this in a couple of my other tutorials. Oh guys, I might use this, I might not, and I always kind of ended up not using it just because I got so carried away with the tutorial and like doing the painting and talking to you guys. So this is my first tutorial on that, doing a floral and very intentionally using this brush. So this tutorial is inspired by the painting that I have done, and it's available on my website as a digital print. Let me see if I can find a quick reference. So I have found a reference. Here it is. It's this one right here. I posted an image of this online and a couple of people were eager to kind of find out how to do these. So here's that tutorial on how to do that, guys. And if you are interested in getting this as a digital download, you are able to get it on my website. It's claricegomez.ca, and you just go to the shop area and you can find it. All right, so here's how you can do your own, guys. I'm going to put this aside and let's begin. So I have my Filbert, I have my Silver Black Velvet 8, and I'm going to have my mop on the side as well. I have my water ready, and for colors I'm using the warm... Is it a warmer red? No, it's a cooler red and the purple, just so that they can blend in nicely. And then I have a brown and a green for leaves. But again, the leaves are really, I mean, I've done so many tutorials on those, so you guys can actually refer to those or do your own or just follow what I'm doing here. So to start off, actually, you know what? I'm going to introduce this brush because to do the centers, you need a fine tip. And I'll just to make things easier, I'm just going to use the Silver Black Velvet in the 4. And for the center, I am going to be doing a yellow and perhaps maybe even mix a brown just so I can have that variation in color. I've mentioned it so many times in pretty much all my videos. I like having a variation of like a two-tone just so it gives it that two-dimensional look and it doesn't look too flat. So to start off the centers, I'm just going to get in some of my yellow and making sure that my brush is fairly damp, but it's also picking a lot of color. I am just going to create little lines like this in the center and spacing them apart. I'm just creating the center. You can kind of fade off into dots on the end as well. And then I'm just going to get some of the brown using the same brush and just kind of add that in sporadically. And so when it blends, it kind of has that nice two-tone effect that I was referring to before. I'm going to end right there with that, and then I'm just going to go in and get my Black Velvet in the 8, and I will first start off with the purple. And because these are loose florals, remember I am not going to be making them, like the colors will look funky but not super realistic, so please keep that in mind. And to start off, I'm going to do the centers, and I'm just creating swishes like this, and I'm getting enough color in there and around. Then I'm going to go in with my mop, get some of the red, and then do the same thing with the red. And I'm just touching the edges of the purple so that they can seep in and get, what's the word? Have a nice blend. And then I just want to get it very lightly. Okay. Now, this is where I use the Filbert. Actually, no, not yet, because I am going to continue with the ready color and just go all the way around and give it more layers. And because it's loose, you want to just kind of use a flick of your wrist to kind of get the color to flow and then kind of taper off. All right, and then you can repeat the same to do another floral off to the side. So say we just want to do one right here. And again, because these are loose, it doesn't have to be very detailed at all. Just as long as people can tell, oh, that's the center of a flower. This is convenient for me because I'm using a color for each, a brush for each color, so it's not super crazy, like washing brushes and whatnot. So purple with the number 8, and then my mop, I'm using the red. And I'm going in, adding some red at the edges. And it's fine if this one's darker, just so it has, you can differentiate like the flowers. So I am not too concerned about that. All right, so you leave that. And then I think this is fairly dried up. And this is where I go in with my Filbert now. And I'm just going to touch this up before I go back into the Filbert. So give me 1 second. You can always go back with the purple if you want to add some additional variants to it. It's up to you. I'm just like not very pleased with how that looks at the top, so I'm doing my bit, which might not even be needed at some point, but this is me. Okay. So I'm going to let that one dry now, and I'm going to use my Filbert brush, and I'm going to actually wet it, dip it into my purple, dip into my purple, kind of get it mixed on my palette, get some of the red as well, mix it up. I need to make sure that it's nice and potent and dense of a color, and it's not too dry, so I'm going to kind of dip straight from there as opposed to here, because this looks a little bit too dry. Right, so I'm just going to add strokes, holding it kind of to the side, and because it's fairly dry, it should be like a nice darker shade that gets on here. And it's almost like a double. Look at that. See how that goes? Like, it's just stunning. This is what makes this brush so amazing, that you can kind of get these loose looking strokes and it looks almost like the leaves are just like, not leaves, sorry, the petals are just like circular. Not quite. It kind of really adds like this really nice look to it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. I'm going to take some red and some purple and just kind of mix them up and do some over here as well. And you can decide where you want to do these. Like, you don't have to do it all over the place, but I just like to do darker on the inside, lighter on the outsides. So try and control that if you can. If you can't, like, I mean, it's a trial and error kind of thing. So you got to keep on keeping at it, sort of, so to speak. I'm going to take some red and just add some at the end here, just so it looks a little more uniform with the others. And so this is where layering comes into play, and you're not kind of relying on just like white space for things to be a certain way. And it's quite a nice look. Like, look at the nice bright colors that you get. So I will choose to end it at this, and then I'm just going to kind of go in and do my my leaves. So for the leaves, I'm going to use, I'll use the number 8. And so again, like I mentioned, you might just want to end this tutorial here, or you can continue watching me do it. I'm using the brown and the green and mixing right off the palettes itself. A little bit of that purple, let's just see. And I'm getting some leaves on here. And I like how these are turning out because it's like this unusual color. Of like almost like a mauve with brown. And I'll probably just get more green here just to get like this nice, ooh, I think it's more of a brown, guys. It's not a green. Okay. All right. I guess I was wrong. It's like a browny green. I'm just touching up the centers so it has, again, two-tone variant in it. That's kind of nice. And I'll do some over here. And because this is still damp and I'm pulling from the petal, look at that red. I love it. Because again, it's like it's a piece of artwork. Like it's an extension from the flower, and it just looks so nice. And when this dries, it's just going to look not like your typical painting that you would normally do, I guess. So it's nice to have it damp and still kind of extend through that. And have your greenery maybe not so green, maybe just like a different color. So, you know, keep these things in mind when you're painting to kind of have this in effect. I did mention to you guys, I like doing things in threes, so I'm just going to go ahead and maybe do a third bud, perhaps. Now that I've finished the Filbert part of it, which was the most important part, I'll just complete it just because I want to complete it. So let's make this a time lapse, shall we? Thanks so much for watching, guys. You can continue watching the time lapse. If you have any comments, please feel free to make them in the comment section below. In addition to that, I am also on Instagram and Facebook. Feel free to follow me there, interact with me there, show me your stuff. I love seeing it. Tag me. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll chat soon. Bye.